The Great White Pyramid and the complex in China. China ancient pyramid complex used by extraterrestrial space aliens as landing sites? Well, this is what the Chinese legends explain, and we recently have found these. Was this ancient pyramid used as a landing and refueling zone 12,000 years ago? China is one of the great centers of legends, myths, and stories about extraterrestrial space alien visitors. This may not be very familiar to many, such as, for example, Egypt and its famous pyramids, but the topic we'll deal with today is having to do with the pyramids of China. It focuses on Jiang pyramid. Local villagers claim that their ancestors were talking about large flying craft, flying ships of extraterrestrial races that had crossed the skies and used the pyramid as a landing and refueling area. Doesn't that sound like what we have in the Tully Papyrus, with the spaceships landing in the area of the Giza pyramids? Kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. The Tully Papyrus is a witnessing of the Pharaoh of Egypt, who was in awe and fear and trembling of the overlords of Egypt that were landing over the Giza pyramids. This sounds a lot like what was taking place in China as well. The extraterrestrial case is understandable and worth studying, but scientific tools still need to be used to determine whether or not this is true. And one of the scientists and researchers at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences told reporters, the research team is investigating local and archaeological data that agree that all evidence suggests that these extraterrestrial space aliens used the giant pyramid structure as one of their central bases on Earth. The pyramid is about 61 meters high above the ground, while the surrounding area is made up of enigmatic pipes and strange objects. The state-run China Xinhua news agency sent a team of 9 men to investigate the pyramid and report on its findings. The team has discovered pipes running through the caves and many entering the ground, but they're probably unknown until they arrive. The agency simply says the pyramid has 3 caverns with triangular apertures and its facade is filled with reddish pipes. One of them goes to the mountain and one near a lake with seawater. However, as reported, there are more pipes scattered around the ground in all directions, some of which are below the lake bottom. All of these together are indications of parts or components of a structure, including the pyramid and perhaps even an extraterrestrial space base. Queen Jiang, head of the government's Delinga advertising department, said the pieces of pipe or pipe material were taken for analysis. According to her, the pieces were mostly silicon dioxide and calcium oxide, although more than 8% of the metal could not be identified because it was an unknown material, not from Earth. Quote, the high content of silicon and calcium oxide is the result of a long interaction of iron and sandstone, which means the pipes must be very old, explained Liu Xiaolin, the engineer who carried out the analysis. Now, how old are these structures? Some are estimated to be about 12,000 years old and perhaps much older. Such structures exist and are adapted to the unofficial history of China, a story that many scholars choose to ignore. Some historians have termed ancient Chinese civilizations a mystery wrapped in a mystery. The stories of ancient China are full of stories of peoples of paradise, quote unquote, and gods, quote unquote, who came from the stars and used the earth as a base for exploration. Along the way, these beings taught primitive peoples who knew the basic principles of technology, engineering, and the complex structure of the universe. Doesn't that sound like what happened with the star people landing in the areas of the Native American Indians, teaching them technology, codes of ethics, morals, how to live, technology? And these star people left, and they felt as they were forlorn, and that something had been empty in their lives. So this sounds a lot like what we have recently posted on videos concerning the Native American star people. Now, in the early 20th century, two traders from Australia crossed central China. In the vast plains, they found more than 100 pyramids. Locals told these two men that the pyramids were very old, some much older than China itself. The younger pyramids date from the time of the ancient emperors. The rulers often talked about aliens and the cultures of other planets like the Earth. In fact, some of them were born to star people and became the sons of heaven, who had landed on iron dragons and reached ancient sites such as the pyramids. Now here we're looking at the Great White Pyramid of China. This was taken in 1947. This is an image by New York Sunday News, March 30th, 1947. The pyramids of China, there are about approximately 100 ancient mounds, many of which were used for burial, they said, most of them located within 100 kilometers of the city of Chiang on the Qinchuan Plains in the Shanxi province, central China. The existence of the pyramids has come in two stages. Most early stories were focused on the existence of the Great White Pyramid. A photograph of the pyramid in Qinling Mountains taken by Americans in 1945, but remained in military files for 45 years. U.S. Air Force pilot James Gaussman is said to have seen a white jewel-topped pyramid during a flight between India and China during World War II, but there's scant evidence for a source on that story. But it's now believed that Gaussman's story was actually based on Colonel Maurice Sheehan, Far Eastern Director of Transworld Airlines, TWA, who told an eyewitness account of his encounter with a pyramid March 28, 1947. Edition of the New York Times, the photo of Sheehan's pyramid appeared in New York Sunday News, March 30th, 1947. It later became attributed to James Gaussman. Now, it's known, thanks to efforts of Chris Meyer, that the particular pyramid shown in the image was the Mao Ling Mausoleum. The pyramid sits just outside of Chiang. In 1994, German tour operator and author Hartwig Hausdorff was noted for photographing and studying several pyramids. He drew attention to the structure's existence with his 1994 book, Das Weiße Pyramid, in other words, the White Pyramid, the subject of an article in Nexus magazine, later translated into English, and revised titled The Chinese Roswell, 1998. The Pyramid of Chiang can be visited now on trips from Chiang and no longer are located in forbidden zones. Several pyramids have small museums attached to them as well. The Great White Pyramid itself, described by Sheehan, remains unidentified. List of Chinese pyramids: the Inner Mongolian Pyramid, 1 kilometer north of Shijiazhi town, Aohan County. The Mao Ling Mausoleum, the Pyramid of Gathering in Tibet, the Qin Shi Huang's Mausoleum, the Zhangkunzhong, and the Step Pyramid Xiban. There are quite a few pyramids in China, and I'll leave a link below on the living room. You can see the images of there. They seem to have been cultivated or covered up with grassy areas and even planted with trees so that they look like hills, whereas they are, in fact, pyramids, and you can very clearly see the angles on them. And you can also see the satellite images of pyramids of China from the Far Shore website, pyramids in areas. After examination, you can see that they are not of the same pyramids as the ones taken by Hartwig Hausdorff, but they're different. And there are those who say that the alignment of these pyramids are also the same alignment as the Giza pyramids, the main pyramids that are on the Qinchuan Plains in central China. We know that there are pyramids and pyramidal structures worldwide, found in Egypt, Peru, Central America, American Mississippi Valley, France, Polynesia, Greece, of course, and now we can add the other locations of China and Japan. These secret Chinese pyramids are the evidence of alien visitors. According to the old Chinese legends, over 100 pyramids built in China are evidence of visits paid by extraterrestrial space aliens to our planet. The story says that at the very beginning of the century, 2 Australian merchants traveled to the vast plains of Sichuan in the central part of China, where they discovered over 100 pyramids. The Australians asked the superior of the local monastery, the abbot that is, they asked the abbot of the local monastery about these pyramids, and the abbot explained that they were very old. The first record of the pyramids was written over 5,000 years ago. That's 3000 BC. So it was very likely that they're even older than that record. The merchants also discovered that the pyramids belonged to the epoch when China was ruled by ancient emperors who believed in the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations. The emperors themselves insisted that they were ancestors of, quote, the sons of the sky who had landed on the earth in iron dragons. I guess iron or metallic craft. So the ancestors, the emperors of China, were the offspring of these extraterrestrials who landed on Earth with spacecraft. Aliens are alleged to have been the constructors of these pyramids. Wow, that's amazing. It's astonishing. This looks like, it sounds like, very much like Atlantean technology when Atlantis was no longer, or was inundated by tsunamis or whatever, just as Thoth the Atlantean or Hermes Trismegistus wrote in the Emerald Tablets, and you'll find a playlist of those videos on my videos, that they had escaped. Some of them had escaped and went to various locations of Earth and rebuilt cities. The first thing they did was build pyramids for some odd reason. There are those who believe that the pyramids themselves were a technology for creation of energy. They were some type of energy machines. Now, this is very similar to what we have going on in Egypt. Thoth was one of the first deities of Egypt. He explained to us that he constructed the Giza Plateau of pyramids, and he even says that he buried his spaceship under a sphinx in the plateau of pyramids. Was it Egypt? He said it was in Egypt, so I assume it's in Egypt. It could be his spaceship is buried under the Great Sphinx. We don't know. But Thoth also went to the Americas, and we also have the Native American Indian legends of the Star People who had come. They used to wear white, they said, and they had beards, and they gave them knowledge of technology. They gave them law of ethics told them how to live properly, how not to be sinful. And when they left, they felt as if they were forlorn and that their loving father or parent had left them orphaned. That's how they explained these star people. So could these have been the Atlanteans that used to live thousands of years, by the way? We don't know. Manly P. Hall believes that these orbs and UFOs that we see today around us, these very fast flying orbs, these orbs and vehicles that appear and take off and then disappear, because we know that the Atlanteans even had the knowledge of interdimensional switching back and forth from one dimension to the other. Manly P. Hall believes that there could be Atlanteans, or the remnants of the Atlanteans that used to live thousands of years, that are still around us. So, here we have yet another explanation from Chinese legends that these entities were extraterrestrial, and that the first emperors of China were the sons of these sky gods. Now, on March 1994, the Austrian Hartwig Hausdorff made trips to the area, and he went to see the locations of these various pyramids. These territories were closed to foreigners. During the tour, the Austrian discovered 6 legendary pyramids. He organized another tour to China, October 94, this time with a video camera. He managed to shoot an 18-minute film. When he returned home, he decided to watch the film he had shot in China, but the Austrian was extremely surprised to see more pyramids in the background. He counted over 100 pyramids standing in the area of 2,000 square kilometers. Some of them were in very poor condition. They were plundered by the locals. The pyramids were mostly built of loam and soil. Some farmers destroyed it to take the loam and soil to their fields, used them in the farms. We saw this happening, of course, also in Egypt. They would dismantle pyramids and use them for their own building needs. So the Chinese government banned any excavations in the area. Now, what kind of construction are these pyramids? The heights are situated from 25 to 100 meters, in other words, from about 60 feet to 300 feet, with the exception of one pyramid to the north. It's the so-called Great White Pyramid, which is said to be about 300 meters high, about 1,000 feet. The pyramid can be truly called the mother of all Chinese pyramids. Recently, Chinese authorities declared the area where the Great White Pyramid stands a closed region, as a launching pad for rockets is situated close to that region. So obviously, it has to be off limits. The Chinese pyramids resemble the pyramid in Central America. Is it possible that the South American pyramids are also constructed by the sons of the sky? Well, we already know from the Emerald Tablets that Thoth explains to us why there are so many pyramids in so many cities around the world that look like each other. It's because they were Atlanteans who built them. Atlanteans who had air travel. Not only that, they had space travel. And they had the knowledge of time travel and interdimensional whizzing back and forth. And Thoth explains to us that that's why they got into trouble. They were bringing in entities, demonic entities from interdimensional areas, because they also used to, dabble in magic. And that's what got them into trouble. They were doing things that they should not have been doing. It sounds to me that they were a lot like the Nephilim or the Anunnaki type of things. So there you have it. This is what it could be, that these were, again, landing areas and takeoff areas, just like the Giza Plateau was, according to the Tully Papyrus, witnessed by one of the last pharaohs of Egypt. The depiction of the flying men frightening herdsmen and their herds. And this was not the first time that animals are afraid of the spacecraft. We have if you see one of the videos passed yesterday that I made on India, the Vimana of India, the spacecraft that were taking off from India were also frightening the elephants. So, of course, the animals would be frightened by these spacecraft landing and taking off. So, please leave your comments on this. I hope you found it interesting. Please ring the bell for more updated videos. Subscribe and share. Thank you so much for your support. Please take care of each other, love each other, and God bless you all. Thank you.